Hi, and welcome to CSM Mistakes Were Made. And one of the most important skills any new cranker can develop is the ability to fix drop stitches. They are inevitable and they're not hard to do, but sometimes I run into fairly new crankers who don't feel good about their ability to fix dropped stitches, so I thought this might help. What I've got here is a bunch of yellow yarn, mostly cylinder stitches, but I've inserted 2 rows of ribber stitches to show how those can be fixed as well. Make sure before you get too far in your careers that you buy yourself a nice latch hook tool. This is a really nice one. It's just basically a cylinder needle that some clever person put in a nice bit of wood for a handle. Hands get fatigued, especially on long columns of drop stitches, so this is a really essential tool to get, in my opinion. If you don't have one yet, you can simply use a needle, a cylinder needle. That works. I think it's essential to have a pick tool at the ready because you might need the one or the other ends to help you lift stitches onto the repairing tool. And then occasionally I do have to break out a little crochet hook to help me. I probably won't use it on this video, but having a lot of different tools can help, especially since this is a very fatiguing operation at times. Next in your toolkit should be some of these little clippy markers that help stop live stitches from going further. And if it's a single column of stitches, you probably don't need to use these, but insert these in, if you have several drop stitches, insert these in as many of the live loops as you can catch, and then repair one at a time. So these are nice. I kind of prefer these little plastic ones, but these are nice as well. Finally, when you do drop a stitch, one of the first things to do is to damage control. Take off your weights because these weights encourage the column of stitches to keep running. So you take these off, and then sometimes when you repair a column, it's hard to repair stitches when the fabric is floppy. So a friend of mine gave me this little cutie that I think she got at Home Depot or Lowe's or something. It's a little cute tool. What I use it for is just to add a tiny bit of weight. So I put it in on my knitting below the column to tighten things down, and then I just add a tiny little soft weight. And that just gives me just enough weight to help me repair the stitch. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. All right, so that'll be there in case we do need it. So let's take off on running a stitch. We'll start with a cylinder stitch. That's this one right here. I'll run it on purpose by taking it off the needle, adding a little weight. Sometimes if you need to run a stitch, you just grab the thread beside the column on either side. All right, that's enough for now. And we approach a dropped cylinder stitch, which this is, from behind the knitting. So we insert the latch hook tool under the stitches. You'll see for the column of ribber stitches, we'll approach it from the inside, so to speak. So cylinder stitches are approached from the outside. Now, it's hard to see because that little live stitch is kind of hidden in here. If I lift this up carefully, you can see that there is a live stitch right there. And a rational person would say, well, let's grab that live stitch. But I'm going to be, unlike the people in your lives who have told you to aim high, I'm going to tell you aim low. Aim lower than that stitch, and I'm going to aim for that one. So I bypassed the obvious one for the purposes of making sure that I don't split yarn or otherwise bugger it up. So I've aimed low, and I realize I've just made work for myself. I need to undo the stitches that I bypassed. So now I've got a really good stitch. I'm really set up for success. And like I said just a moment ago, I like to put just a little bit of weight. A little tension is good in this situation. So here's what we've got. We'll take our pick tool, and we're going to take that live stitch that I just grabbed, and I want to put it under the latch, under that latch. That's safe and secure there. The next thing is to, so it's under the latch, is to take the next running thread, which is this one, and put it over the latch. And I use the end of my pick tool to hold the knitting down to give it a little bit of tension there. And then that one's made. I push it through to grab the next one. That did split, but we'll be okay with that. So I'm going to take the newly made stitch and get it under that latch. And now I'm going to get the next loop up and put it on the needle and pull it through. I might have done that a little fast. Put the new stitch under the latch, go back and get the next loop, which is this one here, onto the latch and grab it and pull it through. If you haven't dropped stitches yet, it's a modern day miracle. New crankers, just know that you will be dropping stitches, and this is a very essential tool to use. Some people who have dropped stitches might say, well, it's just almost as fast to start my project over. We all know that cranking these socks is can be done pretty quickly. I don't. I like to save socks when I can and repair drop stitches when I can, and this is what I do. This is the most dangerous time of the whole operation, is when you're closing in on the end of it. It's easy to drop your drop stitches again. It's like a signature move of mine, but this time I've done it. I haven't dropped it off. So I pop it back on the needle and we're good to go. So that's a cylinder stitch approached from behind. Now if you have a ribber stitch, column of purl stitches essentially, these require a little bit of a different approach. So let's run a few of these down here, not too many. And you use the same tool, but instead of coming at it from behind, you come at it from the front. And so for these, sometimes I don't want an extra weight on. I want to be able to get my column almost horizontal so that I can use my latch hook tool. But again, I'm going to aim low. I'm going to aim for that one right there. I'm going to make myself a little bit of extra work. I'm going to run these loose stitches on purpose. So now I've got a single stitch on here. And let me get set up here. Similar to the column of cylinder stitches, I do want the existing stitch that's been made to stay under the latch. Then I sometimes use my forefinger to hold it. And while I grab this one and pull it through. Hold that latch over the newly created stitch, grab the next loop up and pull it through. And I'll tell you what, this process of holding down that latch with my finger makes my finger hurt sometimes if I have a whole big column of 80 rows. It really gets tiresome. So just know that this can hurt your finger. So let's remember that it's dangerous time to be at the end of your job, because you can easily get complacent and drop that off there, but I did okay. Now, the last thing I'll say is I do not think that looks very good, but you can usually coax those over so that it looks like a machine has done that column. So you may or may not be that picky, but that's how it's done. Remember, to approach a cylinder drop stitch is from behind. To approach a ribber drop stitch is from the front. And I sure hope that helps the new crankers out there. Get good at this, because you will be dropping stitches. If you haven't already, like I said, it's a modern day miracle. Thanks for watching.